reason for the special meeting is budget, but the staff has some more items that they would like to present this morning, so I feel like it don't be appropriate to do that. Try to move along, stay to the issue, get out of here fair. 6 items that we discussed this morning, and Mr. Butler, what about the attorney? You heard any?
He's out of town.
He is? Okay, all right. We'll start. Are you ready? Ready? Butler, ready to go, Ms. Here?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman,
With you,
thank you.
please.
In front of you, I've put an evaluation sheet analysis for the VoIP bid, bid number 1516-16. Mr. Chairman, it looks like this.
Got you.
The reason it's taken us so long is the committee has worked extensively on this bid analysis. And in our bid, staff asked for an all-inclusive bid. We are currently only providing VoIP for our courthouse, Public Works, and the Weewalt Extension Office, which includes the tax collector and property appraiser and the clerk. The new bid, we asked for TDC, Supervisor of Elections Office, Weewalt EMS, and all the current services we have. I inadvertently left out the substation in Weewalt, so that's not included in this bid, but we did want to include that in there as well, and it inadvertently got left out. But the pricing you see before you, we only had one bidder that, we only had 2 bids. You see 3 representations here because AT&T is our current provider. Our current provider is providing service through state contract with Department of Management Services. They did give us an all-inclusive bid, as did Mediacom. Maxis 360 gave us a bid, but not for all of the locations. There were only locations were the courthouse and our current services. So what you see before you for what we asked in the bid, Mediacom is $64,027.20, and AT&T's new pricing to include all locations would be $95,928.12. Therefore, the committee met and we recommend Mediacom as the new VoIP provider for the county. And one of the main benefits of Mediacom, not only pricing, but they are going to put fiber at the Weewalt EOC emergency location, Honeyville Community Center, and they're going to do that free of charge. So we would have the VoIP for emergency situations if we got relocated to the Honeyville Community Center during evacuation purposes. So that is the committee's recommendation to the board, is for Mediacom to become the new VoIP provider and award this bid to them.
Give me that AT&T, what was it, 90 what?
$95,928.12.
Considerable difference. Okay. That all, Ms. Lynn?
That's all, sir.
Thank you, dear.
Approve this, or disapprove.
Yes.
So moved to approve the bid.
Bid for Mediacom in the amount of $64,027.20.
About a $40,000 difference.
Okay. Thereabouts. All right, I have a motion by Commissioner McLemore. Second.
I second that motion, but with discussion real quick.
Do that. You have the floor.
Just to make sure, Mr. Make sure we add that the substation needed to be added in that motion. In case we can make sure we cover that.
I include that into my motion, that we add the substation on this bid, $64,000.
Ms. Lanier, all right, the motion's been modified to add the substation. Will that be any monetary change on that?
There will be a small monetary change. That location only has, I believe, 2 or 3 phones, so I'm not sure exactly how that would work. but it shouldn't be a substantial change for only two phones.
Okay, and you have any,
No, sir, no, sir.
on any-
That's it.
anyone else on the board?
I do.
On Commissioner Ryan?
I think this is an inappropriate vote. We've got the entire bid analysis placed before us with, no prior notice, no opportunity to review. We all know that bids have more moving parts than just the price. And there we've got 3 columns here, and we've got different responses. Now we've got a substation that needs to be added that wasn't part of the bid, and it needs to be rebid with the substation. The bid needs to be proper. I have great concerns about this. We've had in the past, in the same area, a item placed in our consent agenda as a sole source provider that we relied upon. It was in the packet, so we did have an opportunity to review that one. This one was just presented today at a special meeting that probably many people don't even realize we're having a special meeting. This was not placed out for the public to review, and I don't know about the other commissioners here, but this is the first time that this has been placed in front of me. And in the past, we had a item placed in our consent agenda that stated that it was a sole source provider, when in fact it wasn't, and it was a $50,000 cost to the taxpayers. So I think that this is something that calls for a further review than 3 seconds placed in front of us. We are deciding on a bid here. There's a lot of issues that factor into a bid than the bottom line. And we're seeing right here, there's already one issue that the bid was not put out properly, and I believe it needs to be rebid.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, Commissioner? Thank you. I'll recognize.
I just make, one comment. We're supposed to, and I do, we rely a lot on these committees that we put together to give us information. And I'm relying on this committee. I think they've done their homework with it. They've worked it the best of their ability, and I'm good with it. That's why we have and select committees to help us through things like this.
I'd like to just respond briefly that I believe that the people elect us to review the bottom line expenditures. We need to be looking at policy issues, contracts, expenditures. A county commissioner's job is more than just telling a work crew where to go dig out a ditch or fill a pothole.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Like Ms. Bryant said, I do agree. We got a tough job. It's not only telling the work crews where to go, but when we elect these committees, I think we put trust, faith, hope in them that they're gonna go out and do the right thing, make the right decisions. Ms. Lanier, you did say y'all had a committee form.
Yes,
right?
sir, we did.
Well, sometimes I do rely on, and you have to rely on your committees, because why you put those people in place then? There's no need to have a committee if you're not going to rely on them. So I think they went out, and I'm pretty sure they made the right recommendation here, and I have no problem sticking with MediaCom for this for our service provider.
Mr. Chairman,
Sir.
I have one more
Already
comment.
had
No, I have
two.
one more
You've
comment.
already had two.
But
Now
another
you're
issue
supposed
came
to
up.
have
Another issue came.
Yeah.
Come on, are you trying to do the work of the people? Mr. McDaniel, we're trying to do the work of the people. So my issue is, why, we're at a special meeting. We have six items on a special meeting that people don't really know about. This meeting notice went out Thursday afternoon. The county is closed Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're meeting Monday morning, first thing. Nobody has any opportunity to find out what these very broad items, 6 items on this agenda, very broad. Nobody knows what we're considering. Why, if we have a committee, why wasn't this item placed on a regular meeting agenda, and why wasn't it included for the public to review and for the commission to review? This is not an emergency. This should have been placed out for the public to see, and that's my point. Committee or no committee, They should have put this out for the public to see. We are spending the public's money. We work for the public. We don't work for the committee. We work for the public. And just for the public's notice, I'll finish before I turn it over to you, because Lord knows what you're going to do. But this is what we received for this entire meeting. One sheet of paper with 6 items, very broad. This is it. This is the preparation. Thursday afternoon, our county administration has been in California till, I believe, Wednesday. Thursday afternoon, this comes out, and we're closed Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday morning, we meet. I mean, is this right?
Chairman.
Is
I gotta
this
go to
right?
people.
Okay.
Anyone in the audience have any concern? Anyone? When your second stands,
Yes.
correct there?
Yes.
All right. Motion was to accept the low bid from MediaCom of $64,007.20. I hear any opposition to the motion?
I oppose.
Motion passed 4-1. Mr. Hammond, I think you're going to address the next item, this
Just need,
sale of TDC Polaris bid
need the board,
16-17.
Need
All
the-
right, sir, you have the floor.
need the board to reject 1516-17. We're not going to sell that vehicle now. We're going to keep it in-house, for use by the sheriff's office, the fire department, and the Turtle Patrol.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner McLemore, got a second by Commissioner Barnes. Any other board members on rejecting this bid? Anyone in the audience? Not, is any opposition to rejecting this bid? If not, motion passed 5-0. Mr. Yeager? Sir? Come up. Caution pot 3.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. Good to see you this morning. I just wanted to brief you, and I'll do this as quick as I can, bring you up to date a little bit and talk about Pot 3. And Pot 3, as you all know, is the consortium. It's the 23 counties on the coast of Florida that get together and are working together to do a state expenditure plan. A few meetings back, we all voted that everybody wanted to participate. We were a little scared that one area of the Gulf Coast would get most of the money and all that, so we voted an even Steven, and y'all been involved in knowing all about that. We're getting to the point now that they're wanting to look at what each county now will put forward as their projects. There will be a total of about $12.8 million that will come to Gulf County, come to each county, and it will come in yearly increments over the next 15 years, so it's about $800,000 a year. So there's a few things that I want you to be thinking about. You ain't got to make any decisions today if you don't want to. It's just I want you to be thinking about, number one, even though this money is going to come each year, I want you to think about, do you want to put forward the entire $12.8 million? I know some counties that I've talked to have a specific project that's going to cost multi-millions of dollars, and they're going to put their entire amount to a project, like Escambia County is going to do a project in their bay and that type thing. However, that's not what you have to do. You can put forward projects for each year and schedule that out over 15 years, or you can say that we want to do this the first 5 years, this the next 5, and what I would actually recommend, you think a little bit about it, and even submit more than your $12.8 million, because the whole purpose of this restore money is to get more than what you have in each pot. So I just really want you to be thinking about that. I just this week from the consortium got some paperwork in that are asking counties that are ready to submit those projects in September, I think, so they can start vetting a few projects from some of the counties. It's not required. Matter of fact, one of the things that they put on the document was you can either submit projects, or you can say you're not ready, or you can say you want to submit projects but you need the consortium's consultant help with that. The consortium's consultant is ESA. So if you want their help, that's fine, but I just want you to be thinking about it. If you want me to go back, I know that the committee's worked long and hard for about 3 years, but if you'd like for me to go back and we've kind of sunset that committee, but if you want me to go back and talk with those committee members and bring you back, I don't want to just bring you back one option. I want to bring you back multiple options, and I want your input in that over the next, over the next weeks, upcoming. But that's where we're at with that particular pot, and that's what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about today, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have on that pot of money.
Thank you, Mr. Yeager. Anyone, any of the board members have any questions?
I have a question. I may have missed it, but are there parameters on this pot?
The same parameters, no more than pot one. It's got to be economic development or environmental. And so that's one of the things that the consultant will do for us is when we submit our projects, if for some reason they don't fall within the line of what the council will actually review this instead of Treasury. But if they don't fall within the guidelines, they will let you know. Another thing that the consultant will help us do is to find more monies. If we have a project that qualifies for other monies on the federal side or the state side, they'll help us do that. So that's one of the things to be thinking about.
Matching funds and
That's correct.
to build on that. Well, I've talked with you about this,
Right.
Mr. Yeager. I believe that we need to use some of these funds, whether it's this pot or another pot. We need a comprehensive stormwater management plan for this county. We needed this years ago. It's never too late. It would have been better to put in years ago and have some proper planning. But we need to put it in now. And that includes converting septic to sewer, diverting the stormwater runoff before it goes into our bay and inland waterways. We're facing these issues with red tide, with the loss of our scallops. People who work in the bay are reporting that there's an excessive amount of algae in the bay, and we need to work on maintaining the health of our bay and our inland waterways throughout this county. In my opinion, and I am a blow-in, I've only been here about 11 years, but the draw, the beauty of Gulf County is its water, and that's a limited, there's not that much land that touches the kind of water that Gulf County touches, but it's very fragile. I grew up in South Florida, and I've seen what can happen if you don't preserve what you have, and it goes quickly. And if you don't plan properly, all of a sudden you turn around, it's gone. You've probably seen on the news the big algae blooms down in South Florida. When I was down there, I was working for the South Florida Water Management District, and we were working on legislation for Lake Okeechobee on the total maximum daily load of various substances that can enter the lake from the farming, and apparently they still haven't solved that issue. That was probably 15 years ago that I was working on that. Now they've been releasing that water from the lake into the Atlantic Ocean, and they've got this huge, just disgusting algae outbreak. And those are the kind of things we're going to face here. And now we have new people coming into the county that are going to appear to be doing large farming operations. And I'm sure that they want to do that responsibly. So if we start looking at plugging some of these funds into a stormwater management plan, getting Deseret on board with us so that as they develop their land, they're part of our stormwater management plan. And if we can communicate with our neighboring counties, the water doesn't know the county line, but there are ways to slow this down and stop all of the runoff from the streets and the fertilizer and the pesticides going into our waterways. We can save our scallops, save our bay, and to me, that is a use for these funds that will help everyone in this county and also drain the water off of people's property that's sitting because we're not moving the water. So when we have rain, it sits on their properties, and the mosquito issues, it would help the mosquito issues. It would help everything. And that would help everyone in the county and for generations to come. To me, that is the way that these funds should be used. And that includes the sewer going through to all our
Septic
areas so
sewer.
people can get off the septic tanks that are old and start to leak. we face those issues down in the Keys that have septic tanks and they go right into the water. I would encourage this board to consider that type of a program, and this is our opportunity to do that.
Right. Couple of things, just a couple of things on that note. Number one, we put 25,000 into trying to figure out how to go out and start that process with our stormwater plan into the Pot 1 funds. It may be that you want to use some of these Pot 3 funds to start implementing that plan when that comes forward. That being said, I also have a meeting with Bay County and DEP coming up in the next few weeks to talk specifically about our estuary program and some of the monies that will be coming down from the council pot to set up an estuary program. So a lot of that will be talking about stormwater runoff into our bays and those type things. So there's a lot going on with that, and I think there's a lot of focus on that, not only with our Pot 1 funds or Pot 3 funds, but also with the other federal dollars. So it certainly could go to matching some of those dollars.
And I appreciate that, Mr. Yeager. But I do think 25,000 is not adequate. As you know, it
Right.
goes quick. And we need to make sure we do this properly. And I would like for this board to look at a bridge and replacement of the stump hole, to at least look at the possibility of that. The environmental folks that I have spoken to say that a bridge would give that area the opportunity to be open when it wants to be and closed when it wants to be, and it would have that opportunity to flush, but at least it would be functioning the way nature desires it to function, and that the pressure that the stump hole is creating on the erosion, that if we had a bridge there, it would relieve some of that pressure that is creating some of the erosion at the Cape. The other issue that many people have raised is the potential of a lock system at the canal. And I've talked to many of the folks that have been here for a long time, and their families have been here for generations, and they say that our St. Joe Beach and Windmark, that whole area, was pristine and beautiful, which still is, but it was even more beautiful before that canal was dug. And we need to at least look at the potential of putting a lock there to slow down that water. Anything that is forward-thinking to preserve what we have, that's what makes us special, and that's what will make us Gulf County, and that's what will attract the proper tourists, the ecotourism, and that we can grow and still stay who we are. So I think we need to look at more than 25,000.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll certainly take your comments one-on-one going forward, and we'll try to come back in August and talk to you some more. I'll probably touch base with the committee members and get their thoughts and perspectives on this, and to make sure that we don't leave any stone unturned. So.
Back here very shortly. I'd just suggest that the commissioner maybe allocate some time.
Be great.
Just have a good one-on-one.
Be great.
That way, when you came back, maybe be patient and shed some light.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Yeager.
Ms. Sumner, why don't you address this next one? Item number D, it's the agreement with County Road 386.
Yes, sir. I placed the agreement in front of y'all. It is the,
Right here.
yes, sir, it's the thick one.
Got a question too on it, but you go ahead. You have the floor.
This is our SCOP agreement for County Road 386 resurfacing. We, actually, Leanna received it on Tuesday. It is scheduled for the design phase to start on October 1, so we're trying to get this approved and sent back to FDOT so we can get the fully agreement back.
Okay.
And I just need approval.
Okay, well, let me ask a quick, first of all, let me recognize.
No.
Have anything, Commissioner? Now, this will be a complete road. They're gonna do it all,
Yes, sir.
98 up to 71. Two questions. Will it be wide, and will it have bicycle lane?
Yes, sir.
Because, let me tell you, good people, there was some kind of traffic on it this weekend, not that there isn't traffic every week. A lot of people coming down here, a lot of them. All right, that's all. I just want to make sure they were gonna widen it and have a bicycle lane.
Yes, sir.
I have a question also.
All right, right over here, Commissioner Bryan, okay?
Ms. Summers, there's an issue down at the end of 386 as it approaches 98 with the rumble strips. They're loud for the people who live right along 386, and I had spoken with DOT about potentially having some other type of warning that you're approaching 98. Do you know if in this plan that they're looking at some other type of, excuse me, Mr. Hammond, did you have a comment?
It hasn't been designed yet, but we can add those comments to them.
Okay, I appreciate that. So, as you approach 71, they're more visual warnings, lights. So approaching 98, it's those rumble strips, and there's people that live right there on those houses, and also on the Bay County side as well. And it's very loud to them, as, even during the night as people hit those rumble strips. So if there's anything that we could do to change that warning to something more visual than the rumble strips, that would be a great help to the people who live around there. Thank you.
Well, I need a motion.
To move, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner McLemore,
I'll second.
got a second by Commissioner Bryan. Any other board members? Quinn, Orange, have any questions?
Let me make
Sure,
a comment.
sure.
On that road, Mr. Butler and I were at a conference, and this is just to inject a little bit. This shirt right there, they saw Gulf County. They called us to the side and they said, listen, we got some money in Tallahassee for paving. They said, when y'all get back, give us a call, and that's how we got the last time, just because that little old sign.
There you go.
I tell
There you
y'all
go.
what, I wasn't much for him, but I appreciate it now. And Mr. Butler knows, we talked to the lady, and we got the money to pay.
Good deal.
The largest
All right.
SCOP award ever. Gulf County just got the largest SCOP award ever.
It's a, 19-mile road, we'll just call it round off, 20-mile road through there.
Yes.
Okay, anyone in the audience, any other commissioner? Thank you, Commissioner. Orange, anyone in the audience? All right, any opposition? Not. Passes 5-0. All right, Mrs. Sumner,
I have one more thing.
side of me, what do you say?
Well, I have the resolution that goes
Okay.
with this
Okay, you wanna
JPA.
read it or not? Are you, it don't matter what you wanna do.
We just
with
read it by title.
Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, we don't wanna read the whole thing.
And I gave y'all a copy, it's just
Sure,
the
we got it.
single sheet. Says
Right
a
here.
resolution of the Gulf County Board of County Commissioners authorizing the chairman of the board to enter into a SCOP joint participation agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation.
Good enough.
So move, Mr. Chairman, to accept that resolution.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Quinn, second by Commissioner Barnes. Any other commissioners, any concerns? Anyone in the audience, any concerns? Having none, any opposition? Motion passed 5-0. Something we really didn't need. Jared Daniels. E.
And the last thing I have is I'm requesting approval to extend the contract for the Jarrett Daniels. Due to all the rain the first of the year, we're requesting an extension until October 31st? Through October 31st for the Jarrett Daniels project.
10:31.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Sec-
Your
Second
second by
discussion.
Commissioner McLemore.
Yes.
Further board discussion?
Yes. One question. Ms. Carey, when was their end date? When were they supposed to have that road completed?
Mr. Smallwood, are you here? I
don't know
thought I
what
saw him come in a while ago. Do you have,
I
could you
know
share
this is
any?
our second extension.
Do what now?
This is our second extension
Yeah.
for the Jarrett
I know we
Daniels.
had one because they wanted to finish up down here with,
30A and 30B.
right. Still have the floor. Let me, I've been following this road construction. One of the problems, had a lot of rain and there's some wet areas out there and they want to do it right. But here's the big hang-up. I was in Leon County last week. I go up Road 12, talking with Robertson. The rock that they're using, kind of, we're quoted on it. Road 12 is being resurfaced. 71, Bluntstown up to Alpha. They've completed Road 12, so all the rock that was committed to Gadsden County is to come to Cuff County. Because this road out here, it's gonna be done right. Don't mind waiting them, it's in the district I represent, I don't mind waiting a month, the people don't. Now we can get a larger quota of the limestone rock to place on the road. That'll make it better, and I know that for a fact. They are working on, we were up in Bluntstown last Thursday, and working on 71 from 20 all the way up to Althus. That's one of the delays, Commissioner McLemore. They only have so much rock. The other counties involved too, so we're getting there. According to Robertson Roberts, the pile, I know you've seen it out beyond the post office, they're gonna need about twice what complete that road. A lot of rock.
Yeah, I have a comment. Well, as far as the rock goes, when you bid on a contract, you have to provide the rock, and there are many sources to get that rock. You don't have to get it from one source. And that's your responsibility as a contractor to provide that rock. Weather hasn't been worse than any normal year this year. We haven't had any worse rain days than typical. We've had years where we've had a lot of rain days. It's been a normal year. And I would just like to say, yeah, we want that road done right, but we want every road in Gulf County done right. And I just want to clarify. Well, I'm getting calls that there's just this very beautiful landscaping going on this Jarrett Daniels Road. Well, as they're building the road, that they're putting in this great landscaping but not finishing the road. So I don't know what the contract calls for, but I would think that they would pave the road before they put in all the landscaping, and let's get the road done. So not sure why they're landscaping one end when the other end people can't use. But 2 extensions, typically you have a provision in the contract that the contractor has some consequences for delaying. And I think that, we don't have the attorney here today. I don't have the contract in front of me, or we could take a look at it. Didn't know what we were discussing today because the item on the agenda says Jarrett Daniels extension. Maybe it was just a report that it was all done. So I think that we can't just grant an extension without looking at any kind of consequences for that.
Summer, do you have anything else?
No, sir, I don't.
Motion? Yes, I thought so. Commissioner Quinn? All right. Any further board discussion? Anyone in the audience? Or anyone opposed to this abstention?
I'm opposed.
Motion passed 4-1. All right, item F, the last, is the budget. Mr. Butler? Hammond, it doesn't matter whichever one of you gentlemen would like to
Thank
bring
you,
this
Mr.
forward.
Mr. Chairman, I think you received this budget about a week and a half ago, proposed budget. If you funded it as requested, so your millage rate would go from 7.2442 to 7.4720. Almost a quarter of a mil increase would be a .2278 increase. Be a $795,000 difference in the 2 years. Mr. Chairman, you had, you've been on, heading up the Budget Review Committee, and you had been saying all along that you wanted to keep the millage rate at the current millage rate, no higher, maybe lower. So if you were to keep the same millage rate as today, you'd have to go in this budget, proposed budget, and cut $319,959 to levy the same countywide millage. So just a piece of information. In the fire control districts, and this is Mrs. Clerk's area, but in the fire control districts, last year you allowed an increase, a 10th mil increase, so we could enhance our communications. I would also suggest that again this year, if we are not where we need to get on communications yet. We've made great strides, but if we leave the fire control districts at a $500,000, the other 3 were already at $500,000. And then what you see new in this budget is going to be the MSTUs, the voted levy. And the total of those is approximately $400,000 increase per year. But the Gulf Side beachfront, Gulf Side interior, and Bayside, beachfront picking up 50% of the cost, the interior picking up 35% of the cost, and Bayside picking up 15% of the cost of that roughly $400,000. And the millage rates for the beachfront is 1.3139. Interior would increase 1.1549, and Bayside would increase 1.1052. A full mill increase on each one of those units. But, Mr. Chairman, I suggest let Ms. Clerk take it from here. There are several things you got to do, but if the board were to give us direction to keep the same millage rate and find the cuts, that's what we do.
All right. I'll call for motion. Sharing or
I'm gonna turn it over to Sherry. She's done all the detail work, and let her deal
all
with
right.
it.
Okay, Ms. Norris. Morning to you.
Good morning. Our primary direction needed is we have to certify to the property appraiser by August 4th. So in order
August
for us
4th.
to do that, we must set a date and time of our tentative hearing and set the proposed tentative millage, at which point, whatever you set that at, you may go down, but you may not go up. So that is the direction we are seeking from the board.
Okay, we can wrap this up right quick.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would motion that we set it today at the same millage rate as we are, as we have been. And then what that says is we can't go any higher than that. That's good.
We're not
that-
setting, we're capping it.
We're capping it or
Okay.
whatever. Now, we can
Lord.
lower it on down through the program, as the days fall, but I think that's an excellent starting point for us. That would not give us an increase, so I'm all about it. I'd make a motion that we accept that.
7.2442.
Same millage, yes,
7.2.
as we had last year.
Okay, clear. All right. There's a motion by Commissioner McLemore,
I second that motion.
sir. Second by Commissioner Quinn. Any further board discussion? Anyone in the audience? Any opposition? Not. Motion passes 5-0. Cap it at 7.2442. Ladies and gentlemen? Yes.
Did we go through any of these others and motion on them?
I didn't know.
We need you to,
All right.
we need you to set the fire control and the MSD.
Do what now?
Fire control district.
We'll need the same action for the fire control districts as well as the MSTUs.
Okay. I didn't have. Okay, all right, now I got it.
You can make one motion for the fire districts if you want to keep them all at a $500,000. You don't have to do each fire district separately, but you
Okay.
will need to do the
Okay.
MSTU
Yeah.
separately.
All right, I'll entertain a motion,
Excuse me,
okay? We get into the question yet. All right, got a motion by Commissioner,
well,
all right, that's all.
make the motion and I'll second it for discussion.
All right, there we
So
go.
moved.
And second for
Motion by
discussion.
Commissioner Barnes, second for discussion
Yeah,
by Commissioner
and I only have,
McLemore.
I only have one question.
All right.
Mr. Butler, didn't you say that we needed to raise that, the fire control?
We did 1 year ago, and I suggest we leave it like it is.
Yeah.
And we use that 1/10 of a mil to further enhance communications
So
across.
not raise, keep it like it is.
See, St. Joe was down.
I'm good.
Brought them back up. St.
Yeah,
Joe
I'm
Fire
good.
Control District was down, we brought them back up last.
Good.
All right, any further board discussion? Anyone in the audience? All right, this is just on the, fire control districts. Any opposition? Not, they will remain at 0.5 mils. That's the 4 fire control districts. St. Joe, Tupelo, Overstreet, and Howard Creek. All right, now,
I need a motion.
do what?
MSTU.
Yeah, that's what I fixed to say. You want to do them all at one, or you want them each?
They have,
separate?
they have different millages, so you
Okay,
need
so they
to do
have to
them
be-
individually, please.
All right, let's address the Gulf Side front.
So moved. 1.3139, right?
Second,
What you- Okay,
second,
Commissioner Barnes, here a second.
second.
Commissioner Quinn, any further board discussion? Anyone in the audience? Any opposition?
Yet.
Motion passed 4-1. All right, Gulf Side Interior,
So moved.
motion by Commissioner Quinn,
Second.
second by Commissioner Barnes, 1.1549. Any further board discussion? Anyone in the audience? Any opposition?
I do.
Motion passed 4-1. The final, the Bayside,
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Quinn,
Second.
Commissioner Barnes. Any further board discussion? Anyone in the audience?
I have one comment. Just for the public that are going to watch this meeting, that these 3 items, these are the ones that the people on the Cape are paying for themselves. I just want to clarify that for the viewing.
Thank you.
At 1.1052. One in the audience. Any opposition?
I do.
Motion passed 4-1. Ladies and gentlemen,
Need one more thing.
I wasn't on the, yes.
The next direction I need is for the tentative hearing. We need to set a date for that.
We have a couple recommendations.
I was gonna say, I believe Dawn's got some recommendations.
Yeah, August, Don, give me the,
You didn't get 'em.
do you have them?
I believe it, August 6th and August 20th. I mean, September 6th and September 20th.
September 6th and
All right,
September 20th.
September, 6th?
September
Right,
6th,
I remember the 20th. Okay.
September 20th, and got to be after 5 o'clock.
5:01, right? Am I
Yes, sir.
correct there? Okay. Now,
Need a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
all right, got a motion by Commissioner McLemore,
I second that
motion
motion.
by Commissioner Quinn. September the 6th, 5:01, and September the 20th, 5:01. Any further board discussion? Anyone in the audience? Any opposition? Motion passed 5-0. Now, anybody over here have anything else? Because we've already run over the agenda.
We need to
Anyone? Yeah. Anyone over here? Yeah, here we go, come on.
With setting the tentative millage at the current millage rate, that does require the $319,959 worth of cuts that must come out of the existing proposal. Will you provide county administration and myself direction to come up with a proposed balanced budget, making those cuts?
Okay,
We'll take care of the 319,000 cuts.
gotcha.
We'll go to work on that. Staff on that, and we'll come up with something. Mr. Hammond, work on that. All right. Now, through over here. Hey, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Thank you, good people, for taking time to come out this morning.
The dates again, September the
Tuesday, September 6th and the 20th.
We have to follow the school board